Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here is a review and demonstration on the Sagola 4600 Xtreme DVR Clear. So DVR Clear is the air cap. The one I've got here is the non-digital version. So I've got a analog regulator or cheater valve that I'll be putting down the bottom of the gun. The fluid tip that I've got on this is the 1.3 XL. There are a few different options, however. If you would like to get something a bit smaller, you can either get the 1.2, the 1.2 XL, the 1.3, or the 1.4. But I went for the 1.3 XL and I've been very impressed with it. So I would also probably recommend going for this. I mean, there may be certain circumstances where you think that you're better off with a different setup, but that's entirely up to you. I do live in quite a warm environment, so we do need to get a fair amount of material onto the panel, or else it's just going to be drying up a little bit too quickly. So we need to move quite quick. If we don't get enough material on there, then it'll slow us down and it can actually start drying as we're spraying and end up leaving us with a little bit of dry spray. Now this is one of the negative points on this gun. You can see me trying to fit this gun filter inside the gun. It didn't fit into the pot itself and it just doesn't really seem to be snug in there, and as you can see, it goes in and out a little bit too easy. Now with my DeVilbiss, I can just sit that straight into the pot itself and it'll never move. It's nice and tight. But whereas with this gun, I used them for a couple of days and then I cleaned the gun out and I found that the gun filter was actually just floating around in the pot. I didn't notice that and I tipped it out, and yeah, it ended up going down the waste thinners drain. So not a massive deal. You do obviously have your paper cone filters which you're going to be straining your paint with, but I do personally like to run those gun filters just as a last line of defense. Sometimes you may even just be in a real hurry and you're like, you know what, I don't even have time to use the filter, a standard filter, and I'm just going to whack a bit of base coat on my gun. Off I go, and if there was a bit of a chunk that's going to come through your gun, that filter usually does pick it out. So there's a bit of a look at everything else that you get with the gun. You've got the spanner, you've got the cleaner, you've got those identifier rings, and you've also got a CD, so I'm sure there's going to be all the technical information that you would ever want on there. Alternatively, you could either just watch a Gunman video or just check it online. I'm sure it would all be on their website as well. However, I haven't even bothered to look. You may notice it didn't actually come with an instruction manual, so they probably just decided, you know what, we'll put all that information on that CD. Most workshops have a computer in them anyway, so you'd be pretty hard pressed around Australia to find a workshop that doesn't have a computer that you'd be able to put that CD into if you did need to figure out some technical information. You'll see me pulling the air cap off here, and on the side of the fluid tip it will tell you the size of the fluid tip. So this one here, it says 1.3 XL. I'm sure you probably can't see it in the video footage, but yeah, that's one thing worth having a look at when you do get a gun. I have heard of some people getting the wrong size fluid tip before when they've had a gun sent out. You also may have seen a rod that I pulled out of the box, and that is to remove the air valve set, I'm told. I hope that I never have to use it. Hope that I never have the air valve set stuff up on me, but I will let you guys know if anything does go wrong with this gun in future. So that's, I believe, one important thing about guns is lastability and longevity. If this gun only turns out lasting for 6 months to a year, I'd say it's not a very good gun. But after the first 2 weeks of general use, I can say that I am pretty impressed with it. I think it's a big step up from the 4500. There is a few key things to me that have definitely improved on it. The main thing for me is the speed, and you can tell straight away that I'm moving fairly fast, and I've actually got this gun set to 2 turns out, so I've actually slowed it right down just to give me that little bit more control. I'm running it at 2 bar pressure, and I've got the fan set at full fan. First time I did plug this gun in and have a spray of it, and even just spraying the clear coat down into the filters just to have a look at it, I thought that the fan looked a little bit smaller than my DeVilbiss, but it doesn't feel that way when you're actually spraying. It's funny that way. Like if you actually look at your DeVilbiss, and especially the Starter Jets, they've got a massive fan on them. But yeah, once you actually get behind it and start spraying a panel, it doesn't feel like it's too small. It moves nice and quickly, and it does have a nice feel in the hand as well. Another key improvement for me is the air caps. Now I've only used the Aqua and the DVR Clear, and I can't remember the air cap that I was using on the 4500 because it did only have that one as alone. But one thing I do remember is that it had these tiny little holes inside the air cap. I think there was about 8 of them, and when you would clean the gun out, there might be the tiniest little bit of thinners. And because those holes were so small, they would end up blocking up. So next time you go to grab the gun, you'd try to spray it, and it wouldn't spray properly because one of those holes was blocked up. So the best way around that was just to dunk the air cap into thinners. So it's not a big deal, but it's just something I prefer not to do most of the time. I like to leave my guns fully assembled. But yeah, it's really just been good to have a gun that isn't a DeVilbiss, which I am actually really enjoying spraying with. I'm playing around with it, I'm adjusting some minor settings and just having a bit of fun with it, just seeing what kind of different oranges, peels I can get with it through application or gun settings. So yeah, previously it's just always been me going back to the ProLite T20 or even T110. Look, they're still going to be my old faithfuls. I know what I'm going to get when I pick those guns up, and there will be certain jobs even at this point in time that I'll see and I'll be like, nah, I think that's going to be a DeVilbiss job right there. But no, I can definitely get some very nice finishes with the Sagola, and I'm very impressed with how they've been spraying. And as you can see, they do get a nice coat of clear on. They're not overly hungry for the material. I wouldn't say they use any more or less than my DeVilbiss. And I do say that as far as paint consumption goes, it's really down to the user. Like the Sargent 5000s, if you're not careful with them, they can be very hungry, but if you're conscious about it and you get that gun really nice and close to the panel, you move quite quick. They don't have to be a really excessively thirsty gun. I really think it can be down to the user itself, not the gun. And at the end of the day, I can get a good finish with, well, most guns, especially any half decent guns, anything around the $500 plus range. I think these guns are going for around $550. I actually don't think that they're out yet as of the time of me making this video. Sagola actually got in contact with me through Twitter, and they said, hey, we'd like to send a couple of guns out for you to demonstrate. I did tell them, I must tell you that I didn't really like the 4500 that much. He said, no, we've already seen your review, we've read the comments, we think we've greatly improved on that gun, and we're happy for you to do with this gun and criticize it as you will. So I must give them credit for that they stood behind their gun and they were confident that they had improved their gun, and I think that they have. I definitely do think that this has been a big improvement on the 4500. So the air caps that will be available for the 4600 is going to be the DVR Clear, which is what you see me using here. Also the Aqua, which I've done a review and demonstration on as well, so that's the DVR Aqua. They've also got a HVLP and a Titania. Yet to use or see the HVLP or Titania, but I would like to get a couple of them in the future and see how they go. If you're wondering about compatibility from your old 4500, you won't be able to fit the air cap or the fluid tip from the 4500 onto the 4600, but as far as I'm concerned, you wouldn't want to anyway, because you would really just be doing a downgrade on your spray gun anyway. Well, I think I've touched most of the key points on the spray gun. Yes, I'm very impressed with it. Yes, it's a massive improvement on the 4500. If you guys are interested, continue, watch the rest of this video. A couple more minutes, I'll put some tunes on. Stay tuned, as I'm sure this gun will be featuring in many more Gunman videos in the future, because it is my #1 clear gun at the moment. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Thanks for hanging around to the end there, Gunners. I do apologise that I didn't actually have any ending footage of this car. I missed the car as it went out the workshop. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.